Alright, so I spent a lot of money on things before, but never imagined spending this much on one single thing.
So we were actually considering flying down a fan to the TPT headquarters for a weekend. King of the Chronos. No one's ever seen this before. Richard Mule, the worst value in the industry. No way he just said that. There's no way this guy actually just said that.
So Sean, you put money on the Bengals?
Yes, unfortunately. I actually hate the Bengals now, and I hate Joe Burrow. And the Bengals defense was playing, they were asleep on the field. They did not one time do anything significant to stop any run. They were playing some stupid zone defense that I've never even seen before. And yeah, the Rams just pretty much walked right up the field and were scoring touchdowns. Even Odell Beckham got hurt, and still they could not stop anyone.
Yeah,
Makes
what happened?
no sense. They only had one receiver, and that one receiver Cup was catching everything left and right while they were playing zone. He was running around. He was running around on the Bengals side of the field like it was a pizza party in someone's backyard. It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
Wait, so how did that happen? How did OBJ? Like, what did OBJ do? Like, how did he? I thought he was out of the game. How did he get back in the game?
He didn't. He actually hurt his knees in the hospital, actually. But my point was that he got hurt, and still, even after getting hurt, they should have easily lost. Not that he's like the #1 receiver, because Cup is better, but or at least Cup is doing a lot for the team. But for some reason, even after OBJ got hurt, they just decided, oh, we don't have to guard Cup. We'll just play zone defense. They could have just 2v1 Cup, and then they would have had no receivers. They would have had to run the ball, and they weren't running the ball that good. So it's ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. And also, the Bengals defense, I don't even know the guy's name who was guarding the receiver. I think it was Cup. Like, he just doesn't turn around. Like, he just follows the receiver and never looks back to see where the ball is. Straight up. Like, you can literally go to ESPN, go watch it on YouTube. He literally follows the guy and never, ever, ever turns. Like, they're in the end zone and he's facing the wrong way. Like, how are you supposed to play defense? Never seen it before. But anyway, yeah, lost a little bit of money. It's okay. Actually, did a little bit of a hedged bet, and needed my money back, and then a little bit more, so ended up being okay.
Did you selling watches over the weekend?
Yes, actually, the frosted Chrono that we've had actually did really well with it, and then also 37mm AP to one of my clients. So pretty successful weekend, actually. Nothing too exciting, but pretty good.
What about today? Anyone coming in?
Right now, I do not think so, but maybe in the afternoon.
Right.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, is it not available to print?
When I click the link, for some reason, it just says that it is no longer like available. And then when I go to my portal, it just says that like the link is not available. So it's very strange. I'm not sure what happened.
See what's up. That's very strange.
I'm gonna try one more time right now just to double check, but I tried. Yeah, it says. This is what it says.
Yeah, just text me and let me know, but I'll get it straightened out in the next half hour for
sure. No rush. I don't think anything's wrong. I just wanted to let you know because this is what it's saying. Like, it just says this, and then yeah, that's really it. Just that. Okay. It's very strange.
All right, sounds good. I'll look into it.
All right, brilliant. Thank you so much. Talk to you in a little bit. And today is Valentine's Day, so I am anticipating a few orders. That we will probably be getting last minute orders for the guys who forgot to get something for their wife or girlfriend, or I'm expecting a few of those calls, so we'll see what happens when those start rolling in soon. Today is actually Tuesday. It was the middle of a work day, and a client of mine actually sent me a video that states why Richard Mule watches are overrated by Chrono24. So I immediately stopped everything I'm doing because this is just a crazy topic that I have to hop in and do a little bit of commentary on, and I'm gonna go through this video with you guys, I'm going to give you my opinions, and I'm going to actually state a few things that are very contradictory in what this gentleman here is actually saying in regards to Richard Mille, just because I feel like I have to at this point because of how outrageous this video really is. Absolutely mind-blowing, but I'm gonna hop in right now. We'll start the video, something new for us, and we'll go through and we'll give some comments and shed light on a few of the things that he was talking about in the video.
Richard Mille watches are overrated. Wanted to get that out of the way at the top of the video. Now we can do our usual intro. Hey, I'm Thomas with Chrono24 in New York City. If you haven't heard, we are doing a giveaway, $10,000. Details in the description below. Now let's move on to the meat of the subject today, which is Richard Mille watches and why they are the worst value in the industry today.
Richard Mille, the worst value in the industry.
Now my rant today could be considered a hot take, but in reality, I don't think it's all that spicy. I can't be the only one who feels this.
Comes at an entire brand, doesn't think it's gonna be controversial. I'm excited.
Can't be the only one who feels this way. After all, you're spending $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 for a clock that you can strap to your wrist. They have really risen to prominence over the past couple of decades for a few reasons. One is their aggressive R&D, the other is their very specific, very recognizable design language, and the other is their ambassador-driven marketing. You'll see their watches on a lot of athletes, a lot of celebrities. We're talking Drake, Beyonce, Jay-Z, Neymar. Those are just the celebrities with one name, for God's sakes. It seems like everybody with at least 1 million Instagram followers also happens to have a Richard Mille on the wrist. Now, as the brand's footprint has grown, so has its contingents of critics, myself included. So to provide a little structure to my diatribe today, we're gonna talk mainly about two pillars, which are the gaudy design decisions and the collector community that has been attracted to this brand. Let's start first with the design.
All right, so he's going to be focusing on this video on the design of Richard Mille and its aesthetics and the community that's buying them in order to bring home the point that Richard Mille is overrated. It's a great start. Gonna see how he's gonna be able to bring this in. Very interesting. Okay, so he actually made a good point here. In the clip, he's actually saying that in order to enjoy RM, you need to actually wear it, get accustomed to it, look at it, and spend time with it in order to understand it and see, you know, why you like it or don't like it. I 100% agree with.
Where I actually kind of like them now. I'm warming up a little bit to IWC watches, but for some reason, Richard Mille just gets me in the brain every time I see him. Now, Richard Mille uses a lot of signature design elements that make their watches instantly recognizable. We'll cover a lot of those today. Let's start first with the materials side of the watches. So the brand is really inspired by F1 cars, fighter jets. So you'll see materials like titanium, carbon fiber, high-tech ceramics, even cases of full sapphire. But
correct. So RM using very versatile materials that many people have not ever seen before. And believe it or not, materials that other brands look to make new watches with. If you see it on another brand, maybe RM did it first, definitely something to consider. An example would be this NTPT or carbon material that they've been using. Sapphire, very popular. You've seen other brands use this as well. And highlighting complications like tourbillons, minute repeater, split second complications, etc. Not saying other brands were not using those before because they were using them well before Richard Mille, but that being said, materials, sheer materials alone, RM has been paving the way for a while.
But in my opinion, a lot of times the final product doesn't match up with the myth on paper. Maybe it's the oversized wrist presence, maybe it's the look and feel of these materials, maybe it's the very loud color palette that the brand uses, but for whatever reason, it just comes off like an expensive toy, in my opinion. Now, we get that a lot of people—
Okay. That's a tough one for me to digest, just because he's saying it's an expensive toy. I tend to think that many watches are expensive toys just because you're going to be a guy that's spending, you know, 10, 20, 30, 50, $100,000 or more on a watch. I would like to say that that is an expensive toy. I think nowadays many people use their watches rather than being a tool, but also for a store of value, for aesthetics, for cosmetics, all sorts of different reasons. And I think also that you have to be a well-off guy, or at least have your ducks in a row in order to be able to be buying an expensive watch. So I mean, expensive toy, I wouldn't say a negative comment. I think that if you twist it in the right way, that's actually kind of makes a little bit of sense.
hire the peak performance that Richard Mille is known for, but instead of nailing a Blackbird spy plane type of aesthetic, they went neon Lamborghini. Speaking of neon Lambo vibes, why are bright colors the default here? We see it. The watch is already recognizable by the silhouette alone, and with case thicknesses often going 16 millimeters and over, it's not exactly sliding under the cuff. Now, I do love a pop of color myself, but I think mixed in with the wrist presence and a lot of the other very strong design elements, it just feels a little bit too much. Maybe this is a...
So he's stating here that he believes that it does not make sense to combine a big watch with color because of the fact that it cannot slide under a cuff of a sleeve. It also is already viewable and people are able to understand that it's an RM without having those bright colors. So to jump into this right now, you will see this on many RMs. You will see these bright colors. You will see different colored NTPTs. You will see people, messing around with their straps, making sure that their strap matches their watch, all these different things. I think that's honestly one of the coolest things about RM, and something that's very characteristic of Richard Mille is that you are able to do these things. And when you have the watch on your wrist, it is noticeable. Some people that are wearing watches, they do want it to be noticed. They do want it to be part of their outfit or part of fashion. They also do want it to have a little bit of a different look than something you're going to see on someone's wrist every day. I definitely know that if you walk around, let's say Miami, you're going to be seeing hundreds, if not thousands, of Submariners or Day-Dates or stuff of that nature, Yachtmasters on people's wrist, even APs, right? You'll see a good amount of them in a populated city. But Richard Mille, when you see one, it's pretty hard to come by in the wild, I'll say. And when you do see a guy wearing one with a nice setup, I have respect for it big time. So definitely know the guy will know what he's doing, and he definitely will have connections in order to be able to get the straps, crowns, the correct watch and everything. So honestly, I don't really see the downside to that being a little bit different, not wearing what everyone else is wearing.
Maybe this is a brand signature that's just not for me, or it's going over my head, I don't know. After all, the candy-themed Bonbon collection sold out before it was officially released. But a funny thing about that is if you look at the marketing for the Bonbon collection, Richard Mille assures us over and over that it's a serious project, which is just funny for something that also happens to cost 6 figures. So the question that
Not sure where he's going there. Marketing and a serious project and selling an expensive good. I think it's pretty important to have good marketing when selling something, whether it's a watch or a bag or a house or a car, whatever it may be. You're gonna need to have marketing in order to sell something. So not sure where he's going with that one.
The question that I have is there a limit to what I'll call intentional ugliness? We can make a parallel comparison here to another luxury good, which is the sneaker market. A few years ago, you'll remember the ugly sneaker trend really took over. If you got on social media, you saw all of these celebrities and influencers and anyone who wanted to be a celebrity influencer having these brazen and bulky sneakers on there. But the thing is, now that that trend has started to recede, thankfully, you start to wonder, did anyone really like the Balenciaga Triple S to begin with?
All right, so another good point here is actually comparing watches to sneakers, something that you'll see actually quite often. So sneakers being luxury goods, people switching them out, often matching them with their style and also their outfit and that they're wearing. I think that oftentimes people will compare these two, but one thing that I will note is that he's trying to make it seem like Richard Mille is a fad and that it's in and out. Maybe for a season or 2 seasons, you'll see like a specific style or something of that nature be popular for clothing. But for watches, I typically don't see that often. Actually, the nearest one that I've seen is actually the Tiffany dial craze, which that was for, I believe, 2 months or so. But I don't think that Richard Mille being colorful and oversized being a fad is a thing, because it's been going on for now 21 years. So I think that's a little bit longer than just a fad.
Bringing this idea back to the watch industry, you have to wonder, does a brand like Richard Mille with a very hyper-specific and hype-centric design language stand up over time? How are these watches gonna look in 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 50 years from now? Other more off the wall in your face brands have kind of come and gone. You'll remember Franck Muller was once the hot watch to have. Hublot, no offense, was once the hot watch to have. If history repeats itself.
This is gonna be my favorite comparison, and I get this almost every single day. People that compare Richard Mille to Hublot and Franck Muller. So to give you guys a little bit of insight onto Hublot and Frank Muller as brands, one thing that I will say is that these brands were very hot a few years ago. I would say between 5 to 10 years ago, you were actually seeing Hublots go way over list. Frank Muller's being sold out, going over list as well. You're seeing the same thing now with Richard Mille. Now, I will say something that's very different compared to these two brands that you guys need to understand. Hublot and Frank Muller production. So these two brands were very hot. They were doing very well, very successful, and they were flying off the shelves. One thing that these two brands did that ultimately ended up hurting their brand were having collaborations and overproducing. So by that I mean having a limited edition for every single thing. If you called into Hublot, you got a limited edition. If you called in their Frank Muller and you did a limited run, they were doing these non-stop. Another thing that happened is rather than cutting production and raising retail to allow for there still to be a good supply and demand balance, the brand just simply overproduced. It's as simple as that. Bad marketing, overproduction, and too many limited editions will lead you to a bad watch brand. So that being said, to continue onward.
If history repeats itself, maybe Richard Mille is next in this line.
All right, so you said maybe RM is next in this line. So I will tell you this to touch on a few things. Number one is that RM, as of right now, is actually doing the exact opposite of what these watch brands. And I tend to think that because he spent so much time in the industry, he probably did learn from the mistakes of the other watch brands. So as of right now, you'll see that RM production is actually being pulled back. So there's not as many new watches hitting the market. This is a fact. You can ask anyone that is actually in the RM game or in the RM market. There's not that many watches hitting customers' wrists, let alone their stores. And this is not that they're intentionally holding back watches. This is just because they cannot produce them fast enough for the demand. And they also do not want to overproduce and let anyone get a watch. And then that's also going to be a problem for their brand. So they're actually doing something pretty smart. Besides that, they're also taking a futuristic approach to their brand, which you guys will notice as well, comparing like an RM11 or 30 or 55 to the new models that they're making now. They're actually looking towards the future. So using new materials, using new designs, listening to their consumers and the market and seeing what they like, and they're actually following this perfectly. So as far as everything he said here, I don't know if it's going to stand up. My opinion is actually that he might be pretty strongly incorrect here, and I do not foresee RM doing anything of that nature, let's say becoming a not, undesirable brand in the future.
Now, are there Richard Mille watches that I enjoy? Sure. Take, for example, the Rm30 automatic extra flat. It is sleek, it is subtle, it's thin, it's almost easy to read, and it is therefore one of the least Richard Mille watches that Richard Mille makes. Is it good looking, especially relative to the other collection? Yes, but if I had $200,000 to spend, I'd probably still go somewhere else.
Okay, so great point here. He's talking about the 6701 Ultra Flat. Very interesting watch, has a unique presence in the Richard Mille market. It's not going to be everyone's go-to right away. It is something you do have to warm up to a little bit. It is going to have that ultra thin sort of AP jumbo vibe to it, where it can go under a sleeve or a cuff. It can be worn in a very formal setting, and it has a little bit of a different look. In my opinion, I've been saying it for a while, it's a great watch. People should definitely warm up to it and consider it. Maybe not for your first and only Richard Mille, but to add a second or third one, I think it's definitely a great option. I love how he's saying this is a great choice. He is saying that it is expensive at 200 grand, which we will touch on in at the end portion of the video. That being said, I tend to agree with him here. 6701, misunderstood watch. Price, we'll talk about.
All right, I'll close out my design beef portion of this video with a little story. Back in 2019, someone snuck me in to the Richard Mille boutique in Manhattan. We got to take the glass elevator up to the kind of top lounge, and someone pulled out Sylvester Stallone's Rm2501. Now this is a G.I. Joe looking beast of a tool watch. It's 50 millimeters in case diameter. It's got a compass, it's got a mirror, it's got a level, it's got a tourbillon, and it even has storage for water filtration tablets if you're out in the middle of the wilderness somewhere. Now we currently have one example of this 20-piece limited edition on Chrono 24 selling for $1.35 million. And at the time when they pulled this out, all I could think of is just buy a G-Shock.
There's no way he just said that. There's no way this guy actually just said that. There's no way this guy just compared a 2501 Richard Mille to a G-Shock. All right, so despite the fact that there's probably 20 things wrong with this statement, I'm gonna circle back a little bit and jump into his point and give him a little bit of credit where credit is due. So RM25, one of the most complicated watches that Richard Mille actually makes, tons of features, tons of utility. I would say not the best daily watch to wear. It's definitely gonna be a little bit big. It's not gonna be for everyone, maybe for a bigger guy, maybe for the outdoorsy adventure guy. This is an example of a limited edition, special edition watch that was designed for a specific utility, being that Sylvester Stallone, being the outdoorsy guy, that sort of Rambo feel. That's what the watch is used for. It's hard to look at that watch and compare it to anything else because there is nothing else like it in the market. To compare it, a tourbillon from Richard Mille to a G-Shock, I don't know how you get there. Aesthetically, okay, maybe similar design, I understand, but to compare, there's no comparison. You cannot compare the two at all. The design, the research, the level of watchmaking that it takes to prepare and make a piece like that compared to a plastic G-Shock, I mean, there's just no comparison. Absolutely incorrect statement. Don't know how I jumped to that conclusion. I understand it, you know, saving money and buying a less expensive watch. I get it. You don't always have to go for the most expensive one, but I will tell you, the guy who spends $1.3 to $1.5 million on that watch, he's gonna have a lot more watches in his collection. He's gonna have heavy hitters. He's gonna have low-end stuff. He's gonna be a very diverse collector, and he's gonna have a specific utility for the watch. That is not a watch that people push on you and just say, hey, you know, buy this, you're buying a Richard Mille. Completely opposite. An RM dealer is always gonna tell you, hey, you know, this is for this specific utility. Will it fit your lifestyle? Will you be able to wear it? Will it fit good on your wrist? No one walks in and spends $1.5 million on a watch that doesn't look good on them and that they don't like in general. So I'm not sure what his point was there.
Okay, now that we have covered my design beef with RM in length, let's talk about the kinds of collectors who are often attracted to the brand. And the phrase that I will say over and over again is that just because you can doesn't mean you should. Among Richard Mille critics, myself included, there is a phrase that goes something like this: whenever I see an RM on someone's wrist, I don't see taste, I just see money. Maybe that's the point.
All right, so this guy is saying because Richard Mille's are expensive, they have a big look and they have bright colors, that there is no taste associated with the watch. How he jumped to this conclusion as well, I have no idea. I don't know how he could even draw a line like that to a collector. That being said, I will say that many of the collectors in the market that have Richard Mille's, they have many other pieces in their collection. This is not going to be the everyday watch that you're going to be wearing. The guy who has a serious RM, he probably, like I said before, has 10, 20, 30, maybe 200, 300 watches at home, and he has a specific utility for that watch. To say that that guy does not have class because he's wearing a Richard Mille, extremely incorrect. What I found actually is that the RM market is actually quite polarizing for the people that are buying them. So there is the collectors, right? These guys are gonna have refined taste, they're gonna know what they're doing, they're gonna be buying the good stuff, they're gonna be maybe even buying directly from the boutique if they've had a long-standing relationship. Then there also is that guy that will buy it just to say, hey, I have an RM on my wrist. I don't think you can just pool all the RM people in the world that have one and say, these guys have no class. Absolutely out of pocket statement. I don't know how he even drew that. For him to look at someone and judge their entire character and personality just based on their watch they're wearing, I don't know how I've never heard of anything like that in my life.
That's the point. Maybe having that much money turns you into that guy. After all, if all your friends have enough.
Now he's saying that having too much money turns you into that guy that has no class and no taste. Interesting.
Friends have a Nautilus, what else are you gonna get? It seems like the brand is exclusively owned by rappers, athletes, and Hong Kong billionaires. Now,
great point. So he's saying that the guys who are buying Richard Mille's, rappers, athletes, billionaires, he referenced Hong Kong, one of the biggest RM markets in the world. However, RMs are worn worldwide by all sorts of different people. I would say that his point here is actually pretty correct.
Now to the rap community, I love you. I love a Richard Mille reference. To the athletes, get your sponsorship money.
He's saying it's overrated, but he loves that athletes are wearing it. Okay.
Enjoy your free watch. To the Hong Kong billionaires, you're not watching this, but I don't know, maybe like hire a stylist. That way you can bring your taste level up to your tats bracket.
Wow. Okay, so he's saying this video is getting crazier as it goes on. He's saying for people that are wearing Richard Mille's to hire a stylist to bring up their watch taste and class to their tax bracket. So he just now said that every single person that is wearing a Richard Mille has no taste and no class. So as far as I'm concerned, like, this guy's opinion has officially just flown out the window, because how can you even draw a conclusion like that? That'd be like someone saying just because you're wearing, you know, a Gucci shirt, that means that you have no class or no taste. I don't know how he jumped to that. Shocking, honestly. Wow.
Now, financially speaking, I will never be able to afford one of these watches.
And he can't afford it. So he's saying that he's not able to buy something, but he's able to say that the people that are buying it have no class and taste. Genius. But
it's not just me taking shots from the nosebleeds section. Diddy, the hip hop mogul, the man with...
Okay. All right, this is actually getting good, because he's referencing something that I saw a while ago that I'm actually really excited to talk about.
The man with $885 million did an Instagram post in late August where he said, and I'll paraphrase, "You're only getting tricked by Richard Mille. I've got 2 or 3, but I never wear them because they're ugly." His advice, save your money, go buy a house instead. To sum it all up.
Okay, so Diddy and Richard Mille. So about, I would say, a month or 2 ago, you actually saw a statement from Diddy, who actually is a local here in Miami, has lived here for a while, and a very popular guy, as I'm sure all of you guys know out there. He made a statement saying that Richard Mille is tricking everyone, and that it's better to go buy a house rather than to buy a Richard Mille. When I first saw this, I didn't make a comment on it. I don't think that I'm entitled to make a comment on it, but now that he's saying this in the video, I would love to touch on it. So, in my opinion, should you be buying a house rather than buying a watch? 100%. If you have all of your money saved and you're gonna go buy something, definitely be buying a house rather than buying a Richard Mille. Now, to tell people how to spend their money, that's one other thing. That's something that, you know, I'm gonna leave for financial advisors or accountants or the guy who actually has, you know, his own money. To make a point about this, the guy who's going to buy a Richard Mille, if he is buying a watch before he's buying a house or something like that, there's a bunch of things that could be going on here. Number one is it isn't the best look, right? So if you are going to be buying a very expensive watch before you're buying a house, financially speaking, this is probably not the best decision. Now, that being said, if that watch is going to be a part of your, you know, let's say look, or if that watch is going to make you more money, or you're going to be able to utilize the watch, I understand it. That's something you're going to have to speak to your accountant or CPA or manager, whoever. Talk to them, see if this is a good financial decision. As far as Diddy saying that people should be buying a house rather than just a Richard Mille, I found extremely ironic, because the guy wears a ton of jewelry and a ton of other watches, and I just found it so crazy that he was able to take a shot at Richard Mille when he's wearing all this other stuff. Why wouldn't you tell people don't buy any luxury good, whether it's clothing, a bag, a car, before buying a house, rather than just saying buy a house before you buy a Richard Mille? It doesn't really make any sense to me. I don't know if it makes sense to you guys. I kind of understand where he was going with that point, but for our friend over here, Chrono24, to jump on that and say that, hey, you know, this is a great point, and that Diddy, you know, you should follow Diddy and see what he's doing. Don't get me wrong, Diddy, extremely successful, brilliant businessman, has done many things that no one will ever be able to do ever again or replicate. Guy is a genius, but that being said, you have to call a spade in this situation. Makes no sense.
These watches are not worth the hype, not worth the price, and not worth the danger of owning one as well.
Okay, so not worth the hype, not worth the danger, not worth the risk to buy a Richard Mille. Interesting, because they're selling them on Chrono24. So the guy from Chrono24 is telling you, do not buy a Richard Mille. Let's just see something. I'm gonna go to chrono24.com, see how many Richard Milles they are actually brokering on their website right now. So on Chrono24, as of right now, they are selling 700 Richard Mille on their website. This guy is telling you, don't go out and buy a Richard Mille. However, they're selling 600 RMs on their website, and they make the most money when they sell something that's very expensive, which tends to be a Richard Mille. You guys can do the math on this one. Not working out for me.
When I was doing research for this video, I typed into Google Richard Mille and it came up Richard Mille robbery Hong Kong, Richard Mille robbery London, Richard Mille robbery Beverly Hills. The Beverly Hills one, for example, included 3 well-prepared criminals, 4 gunshots, one trip to the emergency room, and of course, one missing RM1103. Now, high stakes robberies.
All right, another point that is very contradictory. So he's saying that RM is very risky, it's very dangerous, and it's very hyped. And he's saying that he doesn't believe the fad is going to stay. I will make a point here. Okay, so this is actually a great point about a robbery in LA. We actually saw this on the news. This is, I would say, an outlier. You do not hear about things like this very often, a robbery in broad daylight for a watch. Granted, this could happen with any watch brand. It doesn't just have to be an RM. I think a robber would be much happier taking, let's say, a 6002G or a 6300G or a Patek, Perpetual calendar off someone's wrist rather than taking RMs, because oftentimes it's going to be more expensive. Now, to say that RM is overhyped and the price is not correct, but they're being robbed very often, the statements just don't go together. So if a watch is being stolen quite often, like he's saying, right, and they're being resold, in order for them to be resold by the robbers, let's say, there has to be a market for it. So that right there, alone proves liquidity and proves that they're on people's radar. Don't get me wrong, definitely like a double-edged sword, being that, you're wearing RM, you are a target, not because you're wearing specifically an RM, but because you're wearing something of high value. It'd be like me walking outside, or I'll give you another example. It'd be like little Uzi walking outside wearing a $10 million, pink diamond on his forehead. He's a walking target. That's life. It's not because it's a pink diamond, it's because it has value. So I would say altogether, being the fact that RM is a good store of value, they do come with big price tags. Once again, not sure where he's going here with his point. Doesn't make any sense, actually contradicts what he's saying in the beginning of the video.
States robberies like this are still very objectively rare, but it does add another heavier layer to this video's overrated proclamation. Now, my humble advice, just because you can, doesn't mean you should. Take that same pile of cash and get an equally bonkers, albeit more refined watch. So there we go, rant over. That is my beef with Richard Mille from a...
Okay, so that would have been really fun if he was able to give examples of what to buy rather than RM, because I would actually enjoy hearing about that. Oftentimes I sit down with my customers and I will put together a collection with them and I will tell them, hey, you should be buying this or buying that. When you're looking at a collection overall, sometimes an RM doesn't fit in. Maybe the budget doesn't allow for it, maybe it doesn't go with their style or lifestyle. So I would have liked for him to say at least, some options that he believes are better than buying an RM. I think it is very situational, but would have been interesting to hear from him.
Design perspective and from a cultural perspective. Let us know, did any of this make sense? Am I completely off base? What do you think about the brand? That's what the comment section's for. While you're there, be sure to like and subscribe. We'll have more videos coming out on this channel all the time, so stay tuned. I'm Thomas with Chrono24, and as always, enjoy your watches. Just not these ones.
Enjoy your watches, just not the ones we're selling on our website. Makes no sense. Okay, anyway, to summarize everything that we saw here, as far as RM being overhyped, I've been hearing this for a long time. This is going on almost 5 years now. I've been hearing people say, oh, they're overhyped, oh, the look, etc. So I wanted to touch base on a few things, not my personal opinions, but facts. These are cold, hard facts. You can look them up. You can ask other dealers. You can ask your buddies. This is the cold, hard facts. Number one, I think just because a watch is shaped differently or looks differently than another watch brand does not mean that it is not a good watch. You see this all the time. Guys gravitate towards the normal circular look. You should not be afraid to buy something that is not, I would say, going exactly with the grain of the entire market. Now, that being said, you also have to consider that sometimes brands are just ahead of their time. And I'll give you a perfect example here. Torno shape for watches. So this was a popular shape, the shape that RM uses now is this Torno shape. Not the typical shape that you're going to see on all watch brands, but every watch brand is different. AP has its own shape, Patek has its own shape, Rolex has its own shape. They're all different and people like them for their own reasons. Whether it's the way they look, whether it's the complication, whether it's the colors, whatever it may be. A guy's going to go out and buy a watch because he likes it. That's what's most important at the end of the day. Sometimes people do buy watches just because they, let's say, are going over retail price or they are able to make money, or they do want to have something tucked away in the safe as an investment. At the end of the day, you cannot force someone to buy something that they absolutely hate. They at some point have to be willing to buy it in order to buy it. You can't take a guy to the ATM and say, give me all your money, you're going to be buying a Richard Mille today. Does not happen. The guys who buy them, they make their own decisions. These guys are smart. These guys and girls are smart. And at the end of the day, they get something that they like and that they want. I see this every single day. You can never make someone buy something that they do not want to buy, especially when it starts coming with multi six-figure price tags. You just can't talk them into it. No matter how hard you try, they're going to get what they want. Another thing to note, the whole fad thing. So RM being around for 21 years, it is new. People are adapting to it. People aren't understanding it. Definitely is a brand that you have to understand, live with, enjoy, and really fully understand it before you can make a decision on it. I myself, when I first saw RMs probably like 7 or 8 years ago, I didn't understand it. I was not making bold statements like, they're terrible and no one should buy them. I just, wanted to see what they're about. I went, I tried them on, I understood it. Now I have the ability to wear an RM or get to know it or handle them every single day. I will say, number one of the most comfortable watches you could ever wear, fits perfectly to your wrist. Definitely strongly consider you trying one and wearing it before you can jump to conclusions about what they look like and how they feel. As far as fitting under the suit, under a suit cuff or under a shirt, I tend to think the guy who's wearing an RM, he's not going to be wearing it to the office 99% of the time, unless you are a jeweler or you're here at Timepiece Trading. These guys are going to be wearing them in other utilities or other aspects of their life, and they have their place in the market for sure. Will you be able to wear a Rolex or a Patek or an AP and slide it under the cuff of your suit and wear it to the office? Sure, but maybe you're not even wearing that to the office. So that's another consideration. As far as materials, I think that you should definitely do a little bit of research on the actual materials that RM is using, understand why they're using them, and understand why they're so desirable in the market. Besides that, overall, to sum things up, I would love to see a follow-up from our friend over here, Chrono24, talk about what he thinks is a well-rounded, watch collection. And I want him to also, if he does see this, put it into 2 categories. So I want him to put together a well-rounded watch collection, I would say under 20,000. And then I also want to see him put together a well-rounded watch collection under 500,000. So a big spread, but it will let me see a little bit about how he thinks and how he puts collections together. I'm not sure if he even sells watches or if he sold watches or if he knows anything about, collections in general. However, I would like to hear, because he does have very vocal opinions about a brand, and I want to see how he does that. So in summary, once again, how Chrono24 can post this video talking about not buying a brand and it's overvalued and then also selling them on their website. I don't even know what to say. I have never seen anything like this. I think it's probably one of the most hypocritical things I've seen, and it makes, to me, like I said before, 0 sense. If you're going to be saying a watch brand is overhyped, overrated, overvalued, whatever it is, which are all points that he made in his video, don't sell it on your website. Simple as that. I tend to think that they had them on their website just because of the fact that, number one, they bring big price tags, they bring big views, and the collectors that are buying these watches are often buying other watches and will be shopping in other parts of the website. That being said, plays a part in the actual market, definitely very important, and I do not foresee RM being a problem in the market at all. As far as Chrono24, can't believe that I'm even having to do this review right now, absolutely out of control, but that's where we are. So once again, let me know what you guys think below. Let me know if you think anything that this guy said in this video makes sense to you. Please let me know your opinions on Richard Mille as a brand, and we'll go from there. Thank you guys. Yo.
I was showing my boy
What's up, bro?
Your watches, man.
Yeah, bro, I like the Patek. It's nice. Where'd you get it from?
London.
Oh, very nice. That's amazing. Oh, he's British. A UK guy.
Austrian.
Austrian. Oh, wow. That's awesome. It's really beautiful, bro. It's hitting in the store. The green face?
I remember you had one factory set with the emeralds.
Yeah, I have crazy stuff, bro. I have crazy stuff. Not Patek. I have the AP green dial. I have the green dial tourbillon. I have the factory set chrono, the factory set skeleton. I have all of it. Not too much Patek though.
It's so far from here.
No, it's like 10 minutes right downtown.
I'll go. Yeah.
Stop by, bro. Come check us out. It'll be fire.
Yeah.
Get yourself a chrome fit and a new watch.
I'm gonna send him over.
Let's do it. Sounds good, bro. You should get the Patek to match your grills, bro. Sheesh.
Oh. I'm gonna do a video now. I'm wearing the 36 today. You
Bro, I bought one today.
Oh, really?
36 millimeter.
Alright, my brother. Talk to you later.
Alright, one love, bro. Talk to you in a little bit.
Alright, bye-bye.
Bye. It's my boy from Chrome Hearts. He always tries to send clients our way if he can. and hook us up, because a lot of the guys who go in there and shop, they like to buy watches as well. This customer is wearing a aftermarket Patek chandelier, so he's gonna hopefully come down and we'll get him into something crazy factory, and it'll be pretty fire. So yeah, shout out to my boy George from Chrome Hearts. Check out his brand, VVV, The Plug, amazing clothing as well. And thanks for hooking me up with all the chrome, and thanks for the amazing quality merch that you hooked me up with from your brand. I appreciate it, bro.
Officially copped the other office?
Yeah, I'm about to sign the lease. We're copying the unit next door. It's an additional 800 square feet, so that will make us a total of like 3,200 square feet. And yeah, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be great.
Don't play with me, because I'm the Chrono King right now. King of the Chronos. No one's ever seen this before.
Damn. Relax.
Oh shit, okay. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna break the internet.
Yeah, there?
Quick flick. Ah, selfie.
One more folder, I'm sorry.
Oh my god.
That looks crazy.
Oh my
as
god.
fuck.
Don't play with me.
You should have made a video. I flicked.
What's up, TPT gang? So one of our good clients traded in one of his previous watches, and I just sold it to another wholesaler out in California.
What kind of watch was it?
It was a yellow gold Daytona on a Oyster Flex band.
Oh, nice. Now what are you about to do?
Now I'm about to go to Seabold to go pick up a fixed brooch and come back.
Fire.
Fire. We just received a 41mm rose gold blue dial perpetual calendar. Beautiful.
So yeah, what I was telling Tyler a few minutes ago is that we actually had a pretty crazy week of buying. Moral of the story is that we're gonna be getting in a bunch of crazy pieces next week. Actually went on a little bit of an AP buying spree this week, picked up a lot of cool pieces. So to start off, we actually picked up a Black Panther. So that's gonna be coming in, amazing, beautiful piece. We picked up a rose gold blue dial perpetual calendar, which is actually right here. This guy actually sold instantly. So going to be sending out to the client on Monday. Really excited for him to get it. My boy over in LA hooked it up for one of his clients and scooped it from us. We actually bought a second piece of the perpetual calendar, so I'm excited to get that as well. Honestly, the perpetual calendars have been doing very well in the market. They have gone up. However, when you look at this watch and compare it to a skeleton, it still is lagging behind. In my opinion, this watch should be, if not competing with the skeleton, possibly even more expensive than the skeleton. Just because now this watch is discontinued. It is beautiful and it has a lot going on. Obviously being a perpetual calendar, the best perpetual calendar movement, in my opinion. I haven't seen the new perpetual calendar movement from AP, but I'm assuming it's just as great. But this was one of my favorites. What else did we pick up that was pretty cool? Oh, we actually have something even more special than the Black Panther, in my opinion. We're going to be getting in a black ceramic double balance open worked. So that is actually the first one that we're ever going to have in inventory. We haven't actually had one in inventory. We've sold a few of them, but we've sold them to clients like immediately. So this one hopefully will last on the shelves more than 2 days, but probably will instantly sell, as many of our APs have been doing in the past couple years. Our big APs have been flying really fast. So it's incredible. As far as what's going on today, on my desk, we have a jewelry repair that's going to be getting finished up. We got in actually a Breitling Emergency, which we're going to be doing an unboxing. My boy who picked this up, he is a world traveler. So he decided to pick up a Breitling Emergency. God forbid anything happens to him. He wants to be able to actually use the beacon function on the Breitling Emergency. So I'm excited for him to get that. And then I have a 55 Bubba limited edition that's going out to one of my clients. Shout out to Sun. Thank you so much for picking this up. I really appreciate it. You're the man, and thanks for watching the content. Let me know when you see this in the video. And we got a few more APs, a classic. We've actually been buying a lot of these in the past couple weeks. This is the 26320 blue dial. So these guys are lagging behind compared to the 26331. I've been saying it for a while. Definitely look into these guys. Really rare watch, really beautiful watch. Has all the components of a modern 26331 ST. However, it just has that older dial and older movement, but great all the way around watch. We got a black 26331 ST. Got this back from a customer. He actually bought this as an investment and just sold it back to us now. I think he paid in the mid 50s and we paid in the mid 80s. So he got definitely a really nice return. Got this 33mm ladies factory set rose gold white dial Royal Oak. Just got this back from a wholesaler who had it on memo. He was showing it to a client. So that's actually something I want to talk to you guys about in the jewelry industry, because it's not something that we've ever talked about on the channel before. So in our industry, in the jewelry and watch industry, there is a bunch of different ways that people can get product. So you can obviously buy it, you can what's called memo it, which is, let's say you have a customer for an RM and your customer is 97% set on buying the watch, but you're not an RM dealer. You're just a guy that doesn't really focus so much on RM. So you call someone like us, and if we have a good relationship with you, we actually send the RM or whatever piece it may be over to the wholesaler who's going to be showing it to his client, because his client's interested in it. They sign a contract stating that they're responsible for the watch, and that if anything happens, they own it, and that's how that works. We typically don't do consignment or memo. I think a lot of clients have actually reached out to us from YouTube asking us this. What we've found in most cases with memo is that oftentimes the price is just not correct. So if we're going to have it here at the office, we prefer just to buy it. Memo is a good tool to use for leverage. Sometimes if priced correctly, it's a good tool to get your customer a really good watch. We try to buy things because if we're buying it, typically the price is good and it's going to be pretty easy to sell. Also on my desk, we have this Rm30 Chronometry, which you guys have seen many times. This guy has been chilling here at the office. Actually, my good buddy bought it and he's left it here for almost a year. So he's done amazing on his investment. He has not picked it up yet. He said, hey, just hang out to it, rock it, do whatever you want to do with it. And he's a really good friend of mine. So we just threw the orange strap on. It looks amazing. So I'm going to be rocking this guy. Don't drop anything down in the comments. Oh, you guys wear people's watches that they bought. My buddy told me I can wear it. I'm wearing it, enjoying it. Really excited to deliver it to him if he ever wants to pick it up. He's got a ton of other watches, so I don't think he's gonna want to be picking it up, but I'm enjoying it for now. That's what's going on, guys. We'll check in soon with anything that is very interesting for you, and talk to you soon.
All right, so I spent a lot of money on things before, but never imagined spending this much on one single thing.
Congratulations, sir. I'm very happy for you, my brother. I know you love the steel one. Time for an upgrade. Congratulations, sir.
My brother, appreciate you, man.
3,500 cash or 4,000 trade.
Oh yeah, maybe
So Willie's had this watch sitting in the safe since he bought it. He was traveling. He bought it $40,000 less than what it's trading for, and he just put it on his wrist. It's crazy. Let's go. Market is unreal.
Investments right here, baby.
Wi-Fi money.
A lot of them see assets.
Yeah.
Right?
A lot of expenses.
Pay to live.
Pay to live.
Pay to live.
Brother, appreciate you, man.
Congrats,
Insane, bro.
And let's not forget, Danny picked up like her dream watch. She's wanted this since the day I met her. And Willie, of course, hooked it up for his wifey.
Spoiled.
Now she's pressuring for the AP.
His and hers.
She has to work. She has to work. Awesome, guys.
So I decided to go through and start reading some of the YouTube comments. I read actually all of them, every video, believe it or not. I try to find time to go through them and read them so that we can critique the videos in order to make everyone happy or to the best of our ability. And also just engage with some people, because I don't always get to engage on Instagram and to all my messages that I get. So thank you guys for sending me messages. Thank you for sending everyone on the team messages. It really means a lot. And thank you for all the warm comments. And also thank you to the haters. I like you guys too, even though you say some funny out-of-pocket stuff sometimes, but it is what it is. But yeah, I was just reading through the comments. I saw a really cool one from William. I'm gonna say your name terribly, brother. I'm sorry. William Rajarnok? Despite the crazy amount of hat changes, Sean is growing on me. Very knowledgeable and detail-oriented kid. Good for you, bro. You see this? I hope the best for you and the horology world. Keep it up. Thank you, bro. I really appreciate that. Thank you for noticing my multiple hat changes. I actually needed a fade really bad, which thank God Billionaire Barber, my boy, hooked me up. Because man, I was down bad. I was down bad for a minute there. That was, it was getting awkward. So yeah, I'm faded now, ready to roll, and really appreciate that. But what I wanted to say, besides just giving this guy over here a shout out, is me and Tyler were sitting down together now, and we just thought of a really cool idea. I want to know what you guys think about it. So we were actually considering flying down a fan to the TPT headquarters for a weekend. So you'd fly in on a Friday, you'd go out with the boys Saturday, you'd go out with the boys Friday, hang out with the boys Saturday, go out again Saturday, head home Sunday night. You'll get the full experience, see what the office is about, see what it's like doing deals here, check out the inventory, spend some time with us, get to know us, and have a genuinely good time. So let us know if that's exciting for you guys. Let us know if one of you guys would want to fly down here, on us of course, to hang out, see what's going on at the shop, and get to meet some really cool people. We'll hook you up with merch. We'll ice you out for the club. We'll do everything. You'll have a great time. Let us know what you think about that, and drop a comment down below if that's a good idea or if you'd be interested. If there's enough people that are interested, we'll set it up and we'll do the experience. We'll do it right. Maybe we'll be partying with some really crazy people too. So thank you.